Hello folks, I'm Alex and I'm a Booktube noob. So I thought that why not do the Booktube Newbie Tag for the first video. So here we go. Question 1. Why did you start this channel? I like books, I like talking about books, but I don't have that many people I can talk about books with. I have a very, very small group of friends and they're readers, but we read very different things. The only person I see like really regularly is my wife, and she reads completely different things and isn't particularly interested in what I'm reading. And so I don't really talk about the books that much. And I like to kind of, once you've read something, you want to find out, what other people thought, discuss them. So if it's something you particularly liked, kind of, fanboy over it a bit, maybe. If it's something you really didn't like, have a good rant about it. And so, yeah, I think like having watched YouTube for the last year and a half, something like that, really got into it. This seems like the place to, do that. I want to, rather than just, watching other people's stuff and commenting, having conversations that way, I thought it's about time that I get my own stuff out there. So I just want to talk. I ramble quite a bit, as you'll find out. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I am predominantly a listener of books rather than a reader. That's how I've really got back into books as an adult. Certainly, well, in the last 2 years, I found the joy of audiobooks, which means that I can just, consume a lot more. I don't really have a huge amount of time to sit down and really have to concentrate on, a physical book or a text-based, actually reading a book. Whereas audiobooks I can, consume whenever and wherever. I also have started writing as part of my job. I'm an artist, and part of that, part of my practice is moving towards the writing. So that's something that I'll probably talk about in some little vlogs, things like that. So writing, and also as an artist who likes physical things and paper-based media and stuff like that, I do digital work and print-based work. Traditional print-based work. I make stuff as well. I make little books and zines and stuff like that. So you will see some of that on the channel as well. So there's a few things that might be a little bit different. Okay, question 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? Hopefully, kind of making contact and getting some, kind of good sort of discussion and stuff like that around books and kind of meeting people, I guess. So as I say, I have a very small group of very close friends, sort of here where I am and scattered around the country. Yeah, it's great because I'm an introvert and that's what I like, but I do feel the need to kind of break that isolation a little bit. A good way to do that is, finding something that you love and finding other people who love the same things. So yeah, hopefully like really kind of becoming part of that community. That's kind of what I'm most excited for with that. Okay, question 4. Why do you love reading? How long have you got? Many different reasons. I think for me, like one of the big ones is about like accessing different points of view, different experiences. So, a lot of the non-fiction that I read is about experiences that I won't have, that I'm interested in, but the sort of experience that I will never have. So it's about, kind of how other people have been shaped by those experiences. In terms of fiction, I just love the escapism. I like, it's entertainment, more than anything else, I think, for me. I like being scared. I like being thrilled. I like, I like the comedy element. I like being entertained. I like stuff that's very imaginative and kind of sparks little, kind of it sparks my own imagination as well, as somebody creative, kind of transporting me somewhere else to a whole completely different world, and yeah, escapism, really, stuff like that. And yeah, I just read to kind of understand things, I guess, whether it's fiction or non-fiction. It's a good way of kind of finding out about, well, as I say, other experiences, other worldviews, kind of different things. Generally, if I want to find out, about something specific, then I will pick up a book rather than just like go on the internet and search Google and stuff. I would generally try and find books to do that, even if they're not like directly, a direct kind of manual, if you like. If it's something that is kind of talks around subjects, it's a way in for me. It's a way for me to access that kind of information. Okay, question 5. What book or series got you into reading? I'm going to stick to the recent stuff, because prior to sort of 2020, I went through periods of like intense periods of reading, say, a series or something, and found that I loved. And then once I'd finished that, I'd kind of not read for ages. So I wouldn't have called myself a big reader at all before 2020. So what really got me into reading or listening books, was the audiobooks, as I say. And the book that really kicked off me listening or consuming books like copiously, like consistently, was It by Stephen King. That was kind of the turning point for me. That was where I found that, like, that for me is the way to experience horror. I can't watch horror movies because I have a quite an overactive imagination and a very, very strong visual memory. And once somebody's shown me something, it's in my head. And if that stuff's too scary, I've learnt from past experience, that's not a good thing. That won't go away. That's nightmare fuel, like legitimate nightmare fuel. So I don't watch horror movies generally. And I've read horror and I liked that because I can censor the visuals. But it wasn't quite enough. Audiobooks, especially when you get a good narrator, somebody's telling you that story, somebody's kind of, really, it's a performance. But I'm still getting I'm getting the text. That for me is that's the sweet spot. That's the real sweet spot. And I just love it. And I just kind of went, oh, this is it. So I just kind of went in and just listened to loads of horror to start with. And then started to listen to some other stuff as well, and just realised that actually I love being told stories. So yeah, it's that kind of what kicked it off was Stephen King, Stephen King's It, which incidentally is one of my favourite books now of all time. Okay, question number 6. What questions would you ask your fellow booktubers? It's not a huge amount because I've watched a lot of their, what you need to know about Booktube, kind of, what's it like being a booktuber and all that kind of thing. I've watched videos from my favourites on that, so they answer a lot of questions on that. I think the one that I would ask is, like, how long does it take to stop feeling like daunted, like making and releasing a video? Does it ever go away? You just kind of get into the swing of things and it becomes kind of, second nature and you don't worry about it? Or is it something where you're always second guessing yourself? Because I know I'll be doing that. Which brings us on to the next question, which is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Second guessing myself, feeling nervous about putting myself out there, not daunted about the coming up with ideas or getting the the reading or the listening or whatever done, or consistency is probably one of my minors, minor things, but I'm gonna, I can set a schedule, I can keep to a schedule, so I'll try that. It is about being out there, and thinking, is this good enough, and perfectionism and all that kind of stuff. That's probably the biggest challenge that I'll have to get over, is just actually getting stuff out there and not worrying about it. Okay, next question is, when did you start reading? I read quite a lot as a kid. My mum was really into books and literature, and she was she was a primary teacher, but she focused on English, and she wrote a bit as well, so it was very much a book household. So I read quite a lot as a kid, and then it kind of dropped off. I found other things that I was interested in and kind of went away from reading for a bit. And then I read a lot when I was a student, but mostly plays, because I was a theatre student. So I read a lot of plays then. Still occasionally read them now. And then a lot of academic texts. So that was all I had time to read, basically. And then kind of didn't really, as I say, didn't really kind of do a huge amount of reading between sort of my mid-20s and now, which is, where I'm at, where I'm reading copious amounts, and I'm 41 for anyone who wants to know. So it's been a while since I actually properly would call myself, a book lover, whereas I'm definitely back into that now. Next question is, where do you read? Anywhere, because I'm listening predominantly. So while I'm cooking, while I'm doing artwork, I'm a big hiker. So I listen to some, and camping and stuff like that, trail walking. So I listen when I'm camping or hiking. If I've got like an adventure kind of expedition account kind of book on the go, or something about nature or whatever, I'll listen to that while I'm out walking. I listen at night downstairs on the sofa while my wife's watching TV. I'll listen pretty much everywhere and anywhere. If I'm physically reading, that'll be downstairs at night on the sofa. So yeah. Next question is, what kind of books do you read? Predominantly horror and thriller. That's where my kind of love of books came from. But I am, and I just have actually, and I'm wanting to continue this into in 2023, is broadening my horizons. I don't feel like I'm well versed enough in what I do and don't like, because there's a lot of stuff I haven't really tried much of. So I do have a project that in mind to broaden my reading horizons. And I will be putting that in another video. So if you want to know more about that, stay tuned. So yeah, like mainly fiction-wise, mainly horror at the moment, with bits and pieces of other stuff kind of coming in. Bit of science fiction, and non-fiction. I read quite a lot of like stuff about nature, hiking, like mountaineering. I love mountaineering adventures, stuff about Everest, stuff about K2, stuff about modern trips, modern expeditions to say like the North Pole or Antarctica or what have you, and also the historical ones, so like Shackleton and like the original kind of the first summit of Everest, and some of the big peaks, things like that, and anything basically that's kind of a bit of an adventure. So I read quite a lot of that kind of stuff as well. Final question is, what does your book collection look like? My physical collection is very small, extremely small. I have quite a lot of art books, like big art books, which is obviously connected to like what I do for a living, and also just because I love pretty art porn. And in terms of fiction, I have a few on the bookshelf, but a lot of them are probably about to be unhauled because they're stuff that I know that I'll never read. It's that kind of thing. So yeah, my physical collection is very, very small. My digital collections, however, are, you know, ever increasing and already quite big for me anyway. Probably nowhere near as big as a lot of people's, but for me they feel big. So my collection of audiobooks and my collection of ebooks as well. I do get through quite a lot of ebooks these days. So yeah, my collection of stuff like that is much bigger. But yeah, my physical collection is mostly like big, either coffee table sort of books or just like, you know, kind of big art reference, that kind of thing, which is lovely and really pretty to look at, but it's not the biggest collection because they're inevitably the most expensive books to buy. So yeah, so that is pretty much everything. That's all the questions. I will be getting some other videos out very soon, and so you can look forward to what I read last year and what I'm planning to do this year coming up, and probably another couple of little tag videos just to introduce a bit more about myself. But for now, thank you very much for watching this far, if you've got to the end of this video. And if you want to see more from me, do hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and I hope to see you back here, and in the comments do feel free to, like, you know, get in touch. That's the point of this. I hope to see you very soon. For me, for now, it's ta-ra.